Hello, my name is Wild Rocket, and this is 5 top vegan replacements for dairy. Um, so I'm going to take you through my 5 top vegan replacements for dairy, and I hope that this video will be useful for anybody who's trying to eat healthier, adopt a more plant-based, whole food, vegan or vegetarian diet. These are some of my tips and tricks, and they've helped me a lot along my path towards becoming a more healthier person, more in tune with myself, my environment and my heart. So here they are, and I hope they will be useful. Number 1 is the avocado. Now, the avocado is a truly wonderful fruit, which I personally think is amazing because it has a very wide variety of uses. For example, it can be used as a replacement for cheeses in sandwiches because just like cheese, it has a very rich and creamy texture, and it also is high in fat, but it's high in healthy and good fats which have no side effects on human health. Avocados are high in monounsaturated fats, which can help lower cholesterol. They can help in healthy weight gain for people who are skinny, and they can also be an amazing transitional food for people who are trying to lose weight. So avocados are great and very nutrient dense. As well as being high in healthy fats, they are also high in vitamin E, which is a fat soluble sort of antioxidant tocopherol, which helps eliminate free radical damage in the cells, which is a very kind of a scientific fact, but be rest assured that any food high in vitamin E contributes towards a body that is healthy and free from the risk of cancers. Now, some of my favorite uses for avocados are in salads. I like to mix them with lemon juice and either use them as a very basic salad dressing for a big bowl of greens, or another great use of avocado, which is not often known because despite the fact that it is technically a fruit, like the tomato is, it is more often used in savory concoctions and savory meals. It can actually also be used in raw desserts, and I have many times used avocados as in a raw vegan dessert such as a chocolate pudding. One recipe you can make which is really amazing with avocados is you can make a sort of a cacao smoothie or shake. You can use coconut water as a base, coconut meat, or you can use some cashew nuts as well, and mix them with maybe half an avocado or a whole avocado if you're making 2 or 3 portions for family and friends. You can buy some raw unprocessed cacao powder and mix that in along with a sweetener like ripe bananas or soaked dates. Blend them up and they make an amazing dessert. So avocados, truly amazing. Number 2, the second vegan replacement for protein which I recommend is the cashew nut. And I mentioned cashew nuts briefly in a possible cacao recipe. Cashew nuts are great because they are very high in protein, so they are great for people who are wanting to build good quality healthy weight without some of the side effects that come with consuming cooked animal flesh or cooked or roasted nuts or roasted soybeans. Raw cashew nuts can be a great alternative to these to these standard forms of standard sources of protein, I should say. Cashew nuts are also very high in minerals such as magnesium, copper, manganese, which all help in maintaining proper blood circulation, bone strength, a good, sound, healthy brain. Cashew nuts are brilliant as a dairy replacement, because when they're blended with water, or they're blended with lemon juice or any other liquid, they form a very thick, creamy and milky texture. I love to use cashew nuts to make sort of raw vegan cashew ice cream, again using coconut water and coconut meat as a base, or coconut water and soaked chia seeds with cashew nuts. You can use dates if you're a strict vegan, or honey if you're vegetarian, and together with some vanilla, it makes an absolutely amazing dessert. And also, it goes without saying that it's also great on salad dressings. You can make a raw vegan completely healthy ranch or mayonnaise style dressing with cashew nuts. I've done this by blending cashew nuts with lemon juice, a bit of olive oil, maybe 2 or 3 cloves of garlic, and assorted vegetables such as peppers and tomatoes, and it makes a very healthy and satisfying salad dressing. So cashews, I highly recommend it as a dairy replacement. The third vegan dairy replacement which I wholeheartedly recommend is pumpkin seeds. And pumpkin seeds are actually amazing. I think they're really wonderful from a purely taste-based standpoint, in that once soaked overnight and drained of their water and blended, or simply by themselves, they take on a very nutty and cheesy like texture. Pumpkin seeds are amazing nuts because, as well as being high in healthy monounsaturated fats and vitamin E, as with the avocado, pumpkin seeds have the added benefit of being very high in iron and zinc, which are great in maintaining reproductive function and for encouraging that as well. I love to use pumpkin seeds to make sort of like a raw vegan pumpkin pesto, using pesto seeds as a replacement for cashews and Parmesan cheese in traditional store-bought pestos, and it makes an amazing replacement. You simply use about a cup or so of pumpkin seeds to maybe 2 cups of basil, some olive oil, lemon or lime juice, some cloves of garlic, maybe just a teaspoon of sea salt. Blend it up and you have an amazing raw vegan untreated guilt-free pesto, which goes great as a dip for vegetables and can also be used as a salad dressing or as a base for a raw lasagna, which you can make with courgette strips or zucchini strips, if you know the courgette by that name. I've never made a raw vegan lasagna myself, but I've tasted raw vegan lasagnas made by other people, and if you can pull it off, you would impress not just yourself with having made such an amazing healthy, satisfying dish, but also other people who you would like to introduce to this beautiful way of living. The fourth top vegan replacement for dairy, and again these are in no particular order, I am simply going by the order in which I'm remembering them, is almonds. Almonds were probably the first food I extensively incorporated when I first made the switch to a predominantly raw vegetarian based diet over 2.5 years ago now. And what can I say about almonds? Almonds are simply amazing because they are extremely high in minerals such as calcium and magnesium and protein, which is probably the most vital concern for many people who are new to this diet and are unaware of non-animal product based sources of protein. Almonds are extremely high in protein. I highly recommend, if you intend on extensively using almonds, which I do recommend that everybody does in making the switch to this diet, to soak them for 24 hours previously before using them in pure filtered or spring water, draining them every 12 hours, then washing them in the sea before re-soaking them within a 24-hour period. So soaking them for 12 hours and rinsing them once or twice in 24 hours. In so doing, you remove enzyme inhibitors from raw almonds, which can inhibit proper absorption of the calcium and the mineral and the protein content of almonds and lead to stomach aches. But once soaked and sprouted, almonds become bioavailable, and our body recognizes these soaked sprouted almonds, and you can tell that they're sprouted because soaked almonds will typically double in size, and the little a bit of the white flesh will appear on top. Are bioavailable to our bodies, which means they are more easily assimilated, and they are amazing for anybody who exercises, works out a lot. They make an amazing base for a pre or post workout shake. I've often used them in smoothies along with coconut water, bananas, blueberries, spirulina protein powders, and they have made an amazing, for me many times, raw vegan workout shake. So almonds are great. They are also brilliant in desserts. I've also made crushed almonds. I've crushed almonds in my blender, and I've combined them with wet dates and cacao nibs, and maybe rolled them in some cacao or maca powder, or simply just made them with raw cacao nibs and dates. So crushed almonds in a food processor or a blender, combined with wet dates and cacao nibs, and you have little Titan balls, amazing desserts that you could use to help you transition from a standard meat-based or vegetarian diet into one which is more raw, living, whole foods, plant-based. So I highly recommend almonds as a replacement for dairy, for their meaty consistency, for their richness, and for their filling, the satisfying nature you get after consuming such a high fiber food. Number 5, and the 5th top vegan replacement for dairy is actually going to be 2. So in the 5th I'll put 2. I will put one of my favorites, but it is sort of I'm going to put an alternative to it, because in most of its forms it's not strictly raw, and I try to promote and eat as raw, living, unprocessed food as much as possible. But having said that, this food, despite the fact that it is often cooked, is one of the few cooked foods which actually boasts a wide array of health benefits, especially if you're coming up from a place where you're consuming a lot of dairy, or more than you would like, and you're feeling that your dietary health, but also your health as a person could use some improvement, and that is hummus. And if you are somebody who is watching this from the Arab world, who is familiar with Mediterranean or Middle Eastern cultures, you will most likely know what hummus is, even if you may not know what it consists of. In any case, hummus is a food, a dip, which consists of crushed, blended cooked chickpeas combined with raw sesame seed paste or tahini, 2 or 3 cloves of garlic, lemon juice. Olive oil is optional and other ingredients are optional, but the base of hummus is basically cooked chickpeas, lemon juice, garlic, and tahini, otherwise known as sesame seed paste. So paste derived from sesame seed oils. And hummus is great because it is very high in protein and fiber. It helps promote a feeling of fullness without some of the negative side effects of dairy, and it's also, as I said, very high in protein. So if you were looking to transition into a more vegetarian and vegan diet, hummus is highly recommended for that purpose, and it's just so versatile. It's great. It can be used as a dip in breads. It can be used as a dip in breads. It can be used as a dip for vegetables. I don't currently consume a lot of hummus myself. Very rarely, maybe once or twice every 3 months, if that. But when I was in my transitional phase, when I first discovered raw vegan living as an amazing way to generate more health and contentment and progress in my life, hummus was instrumental in helping me make that switch, in making that initial transition over anything from 6 months to a year. Hummus can also be used as a great cheese replacement on a raw vegan pizza. I've done this myself quite a few times because in a previous level of consciousness I was very addicted to pizzas, and so while I was making that transition away from unhealthier foods, I would often use hummus as a mozzarella replacement on pizza crusts and pizza breads, and it's absolutely amazing. And then you can take that a step further. Maybe you can find some flaxseed crackers or buckwheat crackers and use hummus on there. You can use them with spinach. They're brilliant, and they don't have a lot of unhealthy side effects. They are quite high in fat, but most of the fat that is contained within hummus is monounsaturated fats and polyunsaturated fats, which do not have a lot of the side effects associated with saturated fats, and therefore they do not contribute in any significant way towards raising the risk of increasing your levels of bad cholesterol, if that was something that you were to be concerned about. So hummus is great as a transitional food and as a great vegan replacement for dairy. Now, the other alternative, if you're watching this and you're somebody who's interested in getting 100% raw, 100% vegan sources of replacements for dairy, I would recommend to you coconut meat. Now, if you live in a hot climate, coconut meat can be easily obtained in its raw form if you buy one of those big young Thai coconuts from one of your Asian markets, or if you're lucky enough to live somewhere in the Middle East where many communities from India and Pakistan or the Philippines live, you can just go to any normal supermarket and buy them from the produce section. They're these big, unlike the smaller brown coconuts, which are actually much older and do contain meat, but it's not as versatile in its use. You can buy from these places big young Thai coconuts, which are big and white, and which you open by carving the top off with a sharp knife, then getting a big knife like a cleaver or something that has a bit of an edge to it, that has a bit of a sort of perpendicular or right angle edge, and hammer it down around a few times. Once it looks like a lid has been created, you can just pop it off. It takes a bit of practice, but once you start getting into opening coconuts, you will become so good at it, and it opening and using the liquid and the meat inside becomes like second nature. Now, coconut meat is great because it's high in lauric acid and lutein, which are both nutrients which are extremely beneficial for our skin and for the health of our eyes. The fats found in coconut meat are saturated fats, but unlike most of the negative saturated fats found in cheeses and fried foods, the saturated fats in coconut oil are in a raw, untreated form, and they are what are known as medium chain fatty acids, which means that unlike long chain fatty acids, which is what most saturated fats are composed of, the medium chain fatty acids found in coconut meat are easily broken down and assimilated by the body. So if you're somebody who is looking to maintain a healthy weight and also possibly discourage the risk of developing cholesterol issues, you could do a lot worse than to incorporate coconut meat into your diet. Now, coconut meat, I use a lot to make coconut milk. I blend the coconut water of the young Thai water with coconut meat, and maybe will put some dates in there to sweeten it, or ripe bananas or mangoes, depending on whatever I happen to be working with at that time, and I make a very nice creamy rich coconut milk. I also use it in pretty much all the fruit smoothies that I make, and in many different recipes, such as chocolate puddings as the one I mentioned with cacao and avocado in my first point. Or you can use them in rich salad dressings even. The possibility with coconut meat, just like with avocados and pumpkin seeds and almonds and even hummus and cashew nuts, are endless. So coconut meat, I highly recommend it. It's brilliant. It also happens to be very high in potassium, just like bananas. So if you were to use coconut meat and bananas in the same recipe, you would be making a great powerful smoothie to help maintain your immune system and give you and replenish potassium after your workout, which is the mineral which is often lost after working out. So these are my top 5 vegan replacements for dairy. I hope you enjoyed them. I really enjoyed making this video. It's the first video that I'm publishing on my YouTube channel. It's a fun and exciting thing. I've been thinking about doing it for a while, but I haven't done it till now, and I hope that somebody out there will appreciate it. This is Wild Rocket, your fellow traveler in gaining more health and insight in this beautiful life that we live. And we all have something to learn from each other, because we are all unique and special in our own way. Thank you very much for your time today. Have a wonderful evening. It is a holiday here in Dubai. It's Eid, which is the end of the Ramadan or fasting season here in the Muslim countries. And I wish you all a wonderful, wonderful evening, and I wish you all health and happiness. Goodbye. Till next time.